Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Kaushal Chhatrapati, and today I'm going to talk about the COVID vaccines. Now, as you all know, vaccines are very much in news today. Everybody wants to know whether the vaccines are safe to take, and there's a lot of skepticism amongst the common public whether we should take the vaccines or no. I am Dr. Kaushal Chhatrapati. I'm an interventional cardiologist, and here are my two bits about the COVID vaccine. Now, as you all know, life as we know it has been disrupted since last 2 years. Now, first time in a long time now, we have a ray of hope, and those are COVID vaccines. We are lucky that in India we have access to two great vaccines which treat COVID. Out of them, the SII or the Serum Institute vaccine, which is produced by Oxford University and AstraZeneca, is manufactured by Adar Poonawalla from India, and it is one of the largest suppliers, and it's assumed that Adar Poonawalla's SII will supply vaccine to 50% of the world. So we are in rather privileged position amongst at least the developing nations that we have early access to the vaccine. So now, since the vaccine is going to be available in the near future, should we take the vaccine or not? Now, there is always a lot of skepticism about any vaccines. There's a lobby known as anti-vaxxer lobby, which kind of always propagates that vaccines can cause severe side effects, right from autism to death to a plethora of side effects, including mental confusion and fever and lots of things. Now, let me tell you something at the outset. Whenever you receive any vaccine which works, a little bit of swelling at the local site, redness, and some fever 99 degrees is pretty normal. It's nothing to be alarmed of. In fact, it is something reassuring because it means that the vaccine is working. Anything more than that, of course, requires consideration. Now, there is a misconception amongst the common public that COVID vaccines are hastily made and therefore they are not safe. Most vaccines take 5 to 7 years to make, and COVID vaccine is in front of us within 1 year. Now, is it true that it's not safe? No, and there are several reasons for that. Let me enumerate the reasons so that you get the confidence. So, number one, lot of people volunteered for COVID vaccine studies. So, the people who volunteered increased the number in which the vaccines were given. Now, if you take any vaccine, Serum Institute vaccine, Pfizer vaccine, Moderna vaccine, they have been extensively tested from 20 to 40,000 patients. So there is no way that these vaccines are inadequately tested. Secondly, in the middle of a pandemic, the chances of a person being infected by a disease are much higher, and therefore we can achieve a statistical significance much easily than when we can in a non-pandemic situation where the disease in question is pretty rare. Most importantly, the funds. Now, for research of any vaccine which is not life threatening, at least not in a pandemic situation where it threatens the life of the entire population, it's very difficult to get funding. So most of the vaccines really struggle to get funding, and therefore the time delay was also partly because there was time to acquire funding which was there. So luckily, because of the pandemic, a lot of people, a lot of philanthropic people like Bill Gates and others loosen their purse strings, and cost was never an issue for vaccine development. In fact, our own Adar Poonawalla put thousands of crores of his own personal wealth at stake so that the vaccine would be available on time, and started mass producing the vaccine before even he knew whether the vaccine is going to act or not. I mean, those are the reasons why we have vaccine today. Now, what about the side effects? Now, it's there is always some amount of skepticism which will be around side effects, and rightfully so. But when a vaccine is really tested, the most important and most common side effects occur within the first couple of months. If the vaccine is not showing side effects in the first couple of months, it is pretty safe. And therefore, let me tell you, the vaccines which have been approved and endorsed and have been given in advanced countries like the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, and even the SII vaccine, the Covishield vaccine, which you are going to get in India very soon, uh, are all tested in sufficient number of patients, and more than 2 months have lapsed in those patients. Nothing untoward has happened. Now, of course, there are some disturbing reports, occasional acute transverse myelitis or a spinal cord swelling, which has surfaced, but most arguments have shown that this is not related with the vaccine. What happens is when large swathes of population are vaccinated, there is some amount of you know disease which occurs in a common normal population. It's almost impossible to differentiate it from vaccine. So I mean, the chances of complication, even if they occur with all those approved vaccines, are very few and far between. They're like maybe one or three of two or three in a million population. Now compare this to COVID. COVID has a 10 to 15% chance of developing a serious disease which requires hospitalization and even ICU care sometimes, and at least a 2 to 3% mortality in India. But if you see the Western population, the mortality is much higher, and who knows what's going to happen to India in near future. The virus may become more deadly, more dangerous, may mutate, and we may also be having a greater problem with the virus than we are currently experiencing. Luckily, to the best of our knowledge, most of the vaccines cover a gamut of mutations which are already existing, and it is considered unlikely that in the near future virus will mutate enough so as to cause concern about inefficacy of the vaccine. So vaccine is for all foreseeable future going to cover all virus subtypes, even those which are going to arise from mutations in the future. So this is good news. So whether now the question is whether you want to take the vaccine or not. Now, I believe in one thing. I have seen a lot of COVID patients. I have treated COVID patients and I have seen the cardiac side effects of COVID. Since I am an interventional cardiologist, a lot of cardiac problems come to me. I have seen at least a dozen COVID cardiomyopathies, and it's extremely scary. I have seen patients getting myocardial infarction or heart attacks post COVID because the COVID has a tendency to cause a vascular inflammation which causes clotting of the blood. I mean, it's extremely dangerous and extremely scary. Truth be told, I am scared of the disease. Now, if I'm scared of the disease, I cannot be scared of the vaccine also. You can't be scared of both the disease and the vaccine, especially when the vaccine is scientifically manufactured. So, what I believe is we should definitely take the vaccine. I am going to be first in line to take the vaccine when it is available to us. Because if you're vaccinated, you are not only protecting ourselves, but you're also protecting the vulnerable population like our parents and elderly members of the society or patients who are immunocompromised or in other way disadvantaged, having multiple comorbidities. So everybody, including a healthy population, should take this vaccine so as a kind of herd immunity develops in the community, and COVID is no longer a threat to us. Time has come, my friends, to defeat COVID. We will and we can win over COVID, but what it requires is your cooperation. Just take the vaccine and protect the world. Cheers. Keep on watching this channel for further information on COVID and also other matters of health. Take care, be safe. Ciao.